Yes.
twice there.
Twice
Hey,
as-
I can do that 2, 3, 4 times. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
right.
That's our new intro.
Yeah.
I was over here. Yeah.
So that's our friends from Nomas. That's their album that's going to be coming out. So
No, actually, that's
Oh, is that
Nice.
that's the older. Okay, so we're not allowed to use the new one, which
not yet.
we have the super
Understood.
secret.
But yeah, we had that made up. We figured we could try to be a little bit more.
We're trying to be more professional.
Yeah.
Hey, same with me. I've recently started trying some of those things. It's fun. It's neat to get to experiment with different things like that for sure.
Right.
I know the song I've used for my intro lately has been a song that was made for the short film I'm making. A local metal band, they agreed to come on and generously give their music, make original music for the movie for free, and
That's
different
awesome.
sound effects too. Different like bass drops and things like that we're going to use. And so we've been using that song, but other than that, it's hard to find music to use as well.
Yeah. So anyway, DJ Noob's here along with Neko. We
And
met-
Deryk from Knick Knacks and Knick Knacks.
right, and we're doing our little interview thing where we're interviewing you, get to know the guy behind the channel, and see what you're all about. And as with most of the people we talk with, the first question we like to ask is, what was your inspiration of doing a YouTube channel?
Okay. Yeah. So I don't feel like my answers are going to be a lot different than probably the majority of people, but I've always loved movies. So let's start there, because I've been passionate about a lot of things throughout my life that I felt like maybe I could have started a YouTube channel about this, but movies has been a consistent thing throughout my life, as well as music also, but just really like the visual and audio forms of art. And so just going like deeper into those, I guess specifically movies, I started like branching out and ranging the types of movies I watched. And so that got to find those movies, to find some of those deep, dark secrets, those gems, you have to go to YouTube. You have to do some research. And so in doing that, I found a couple channels like that really interested me. And specifically two that come to the top of my head that I've been so fortunate enough to already get to work with, like That Fat Samurai Guy was one that was pretty inspirational and kind of the format that I wanted to take. And then Eric at Asian Movie Enthusiast is one that I was really a big fan of, the types of movies. I've always been a big Asian cinema fan. And that's kind of when I started my channel. A lot of the reviews I did were of like South Korean movies. And I still mix Japanese, Hong Kong, Chinese, South Korean, Thailand, Indonesia, all of them, in there. But it was definitely a main focus when I started. So I guess it just really comes down to having a passion, living in a town like I do, where there's only 800 people. So there's nobody for me to go out and connect with about specific things. We talk about the weather at the convenience store and you go home. And so like, there's nobody for me to be like, did you see that Wong Jung Min movie, that came out? And be like, what the hell did you just say to me? So what'd you call me? And so no, it was wanting to, form and make, if not just at least find a community of similar interests. And then once I did, I kind of started trying to connect with those people, and they were so easy to connect with that I just kind of fell in, started doing it myself. And, here we are, I guess we're getting on, I couldn't even tell you. I think I've been doing it about 8 months, but I couldn't be exact.
Yeah. And how did you come up with the name Flick Snacks and Knick Knacks? I really like that. It's really catchy.
Thank you. That's one of the first things people say. Yes, I know. And so when I first came up with the name, it was a lot more relevant because I was subscribed to Snack Crate, which sends you a like snacks from different countries every month. And it fit into the movies, and it was kind of like the tagline I would use, or the kind of the route I would go would be like, is this your next movie night snack? Get you Thailand Snack Crate and watch a Thai film, type thing. And the Knick Knacks are just like the different memorabilia that I collect, or like different subscription boxes like Horror Pack, which I still kind of go into that stuff a little bit. But yeah, I definitely got to get back more into the snacks. The name, I couldn't even tell you where I came up with it. because I was just sitting around, like, I came up with the name before, obviously, I made the channel, but I was just sitting around kind of brainstorming names, and it just, honestly, it was there. It just popped in there somehow. And I put it in, and I was kind of like, man, that's a little bit cheesy, but it
But I
just
love
kind of,
it.
thank you. It kind of stuck. And then that's one of the first things they compliment, or like, I love the name. So I just kept it. And
Yeah, it stands out pretty well, which is very cool. I like that a
I
lot.
almost wondered if it was too long, but I think it rolls off the tongue good enough. And there's the shirt. Yes.
Yes, hold on. Let me do the whole.
And then,
The
oh yeah,
model.
hang on. Show them the back. There's a face.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Steve-O.
Yeah, I had to hit him with the Steve-O.
That's exactly what it is. It's Steve.
I had to hit him with the Steve-O. That's honestly why I put it more towards the middle instead of like up towards the top.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be more central, like the Steve-O face tattoo. Yes.
Now, you talked about before we jumped on how you were taking your kids to the rodeo and all this other
Yes.
stuff. Like, because of where you live, and I mean, I know there's a lot of YouTube personalities that have families and stuff. So how do you balance that part of your life with what you do on the internet?
That's a great question, and I almost wish I could answer it better than I could, because I feel like I don't always balance it perfectly. And the reason is because I find it, whereas a lot of people, and it's probably because it's their main source of income, a lot of the bigger channels, like a channel I'm a big fan of, that's a bigger one, is Cody Leach. He does a lot of horror movie reviews, and he's pretty popular. But he always comes out with these, I noticed in his community tab, he'll post a schedule like every week of what's coming out on what day. And I just couldn't do that.
Oh yeah.
There's no way. My stuff's completely random. I might give a couple days notice when, like, I know, like, I've got some collaborations I've worked on, stuff like that, where, like, I know, like, or live videos when I know it's going to happen and I can, like, promote it. But as far as, like, making a schedule and doing it that way, I don't have that kind of time. And I know he has a family too, so maybe he's just way better at it than me. But so when it comes to managing it, it does definitely depend on work schedule and school schedule. For instance, my wife is an RN and she works nights, so she works 7 to 7 shifts. And on nights she works, I'll schedule the videos and stuff I have to make for about 30 minutes to an hour after I lay the kids down.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can try to get them to sleep and then make my video. Whereas on nights or days she works, it's a lot more open. But then, I'm taking time away from seeing her and getting to be with the whole family at once.
Right.
So it definitely, it's very hard to balance. I only work part-time right now. My dad and I are starting and have been starting a company for a few months now, where we're trying to get things going, where we do like drainage, French drains. I've always
That's hard work.
Yeah, it is, and I've always found that to be the work that I like to do more. I've worked in a bank. I was a firefighter for a little over a year, and it just after all the things I've done and courses I've taken to become certified in different areas, I've learned that honestly, nothing makes me feel better and more accomplished in my workplace than just going home after, digging some holes. And I don't know why that is, but that's just, I guess, kind of what I was drawn towards. So yeah, we do French drains and like drainage extensions from gutters, some crawl space things like floor bracing. And that's kind of just been my forte on and off for a very long time.
I 100% agree. Like I have a degree in business, and for years I was always in accounting. I had accounting certifications, purchasing. I was office manager. And then when I was 37, like 2018, that's when I decided to start sailing. Don't know why, because I'm on crack, maybe, but
it sounds like I would love to start sailing. It sounds like a great idea, actually.
That how people have midlife crisis? That's my midlife crisis. I decided to sail. And he's like, so when you travel, how much more do you make? And he's like, do it. Yeah. He's like,
you make the money traveling. That's right.
And it was crazy because I was not 100% sure if I would get the job, because I was already working with the company. I got the job, I passed the course, and then it's like, boom, gone on a ship for 4 months. And he's like, you've been gone for a long time. I'm like,
Yeah, that's crazy though.
Like, I don't know how to tell you this, but they're not giving me any date. And he kind of got used to it. So like, I'm leaving in about a week, and he's like, when are you going to be back? I'm like, May-ish.
That's so crazy. But that's like you said, first of all, the money. Second of all, life experiences. I don't think you can beat seeing the world. Honestly,
I like working with my hands.
And working with your hands. Obviously, the job, if you like the job and you're getting to travel, obviously the time apart's hard. I used to, when I worked the job before, the reason me and my father started like making our own company was because I worked for a company called Powerlift, where we were putting in steel piers. You dig you dig beside a house down under the foundation, and then you put a system under there and hydraulics pump a steel pipe down to bedrock, which eventually lifts up the foundation of the house. And so we that's what I would do, but we would travel. I was gone 5 days a week, every week. And so it was getting really hard, like not seeing the kids, not seeing my wife.
Right.
And so the traveling part, I definitely get it's a hard thing to do, but I also, wasn't making the kind of money I should have been making for doing what I was doing, staying on the road, and per diem, it was like non-existent. It was like $15 a day. I'm like, I can't eat one meal for $15 a day.
They give me, traveling is what makes this. So I do have a salary, but they're like, so when you travel, you're going to make your base salary plus 1.5%. And then when you're
nice.
if I'm in a U.S. port, which includes like U.S. territories, Puerto Rico, Guam, it's like, because I work 12 hours a day, so it's 40 hours plus 44 hours. And if I'm in an American territory, it's legit overtime. So it's 40 hours plus 44 hours.
Wow. Okay. Nice. Yeah.
So he's like, okay, you're gone for 3 months, but the paychecks are like triple.
It's hard to,
Yeah, you did have it right. Was that when she's out, she's been to Hawaii, she went to Hong Kong,
Taiwan.
I'm so jealous of that too.
Yeah, I it's love amazing.
That. Right now though sucks because of COVID. I am getting ready to go to the Maldives, and I'm like, is it cool if I go out like 3 to 4 days early so I can sit on the beach? They're like, no, COVID, you'll die. And I'm like,
dang it.
Yeah, because I have to
it's only Omicron, right?
I have to take a test to fly. And once I get there, I have to take a test before I get on the ship. And if I feel like I have like some kind of horrible thing, like I'm a zombie. So if I have COVID, it's like you're the Walking Dead and you're gonna infect everybody. And I'm like, oh my god. So I've been like really, really low key the last like week, and I'm like, all right, I'm leaving in a week. I'm just going to be cool. Can't get the COVID. I haven't had, I'm going to knock on wood. I haven't gotten COVID. He and I, neither one of us, and we've been around a lot of people who've gotten it. And I'm like, okay, can we not get COVID so I can go out and do my job, please?
Yes.
Please, baby Jesus, please.
That's perfect. Yeah, same with me. My brother-in-law and his fiance have had COVID. My sister-in-law had COVID. Both my parents had COVID like 2 weeks ago.
Oh my goodness.
Everyone's doing good now. I never got it, I never had my booster. I did have my first 2 rounds of vaccines. The first, the one they say you get one to get the other, and I got those. It's not that, and I've always told people I'm not. I try not to be super political. I am because I get riled up, but
we do too.
But at the same time, I'm not against or for the vaccines. If it works, it works. I'll get it. I've been fine with the first 2, so that's kind of where I've stuck with for now. But like my wife, for instance, she's an RN, so she's in the medical field. She has to get every updated booster, and she's been fine too. So,
I have to get so many shots for traveling. Like, I'm like, what's one more shot? I mean, I've got like polio, typhoid, the measles booster. I'm like, so yellow fever. Like, I have a whole card that has every single one of my things listed. I'm like, who cares about one more shot if I.
It's like
No
my
big deal.
dad, he said when he joined the army and they knew they were going to be going to a bunch of different places, they said they would just like walk through like this line. They'd get like 3 shots at the same time, like 2 different
It's
times.
like boom, boom.
Yeah, just like dosing up, baby. Let's go. But
It's like we're
yes,
ready.
Equilibrium.
That's right. It is like, oh well, you guys
it,
just
it is. And
is.
speaking of, also, you said you've been to Puerto Rico. That's where Lee Matias lives. That he was on the show yesterday too,
Yeah.
talking about that. And he lives in Puerto Rico. And but speaking of traveling a little bit, my wife as an RN, which I think I've said, I'm just driving into the ground, but it's become relevant so many times in this conversation. But she wants to, at some point when our kids probably, go to college in many years. I hope it goes by so slow. But she wants to maybe like do cruise nursing, like being an RN on cruise ships.
Oh yeah.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, and she has friends that do have done that or do that, and like their spouse, for instance, will do like censorship on the cruise. So like just count people coming on and off, and then they get to travel for free. And so like I was like, oh, I could count people and go on cruises for a living. Yeah, absolutely. So like when I see your post about like going on the ship, I start thinking, I'm like, man, I hope that comes into my viewpoint at some point in the future as well. It'd be amazing. I've never been on a cruise. I have traveled the states frequently. I've been to most of the states, and I've been to Cancun once. Is the only time I've been out of the country. But I am a big fan of traveling and want to eventually see everything at some point. I don't know why, but I'm just like, I don't know if it's because, the Viking ancestry, but I'm like, put me on the sea and take me to somewhere new. I want to see it.
I didn't know I had that in me. Like I did it. I am the type of person who makes irrational decisions. And
maybe I'm starting to see why we agree on
why we're friends, right?
Yeah.
So I have been working for the same company I work for now, and I had been killing it, and I was in the purchasing department, and then somebody who was like 10 years younger than me with zero experience somehow became my boss. And I'm like,
God, I hate that.
Yeah, and I said to him, I'm like, really?
They're changing light bulbs under the table.
Yeah, right.
Things like that.
And it was worse because they actually had her trained.
I did. I trained him.
Oh my God, I would have flipped. I would have been like, you know what? No, but you hung in there, right?
I didn't flip. And then I had some medical issues. I had to have, a hysterectomy. And then I said to him, I'm like, I'm done. And he's like, I don't like when you say I'm done. I said, no, I'm done. Everything was like going bad. Like I had medical issues. I didn't get the promotion. I was teaching dance and like that was not going well. I said, I want to work on the ships. I want to be a splicer. And he's like, okay.
I thought it was like a passing fad.
But you're like, okay, this is the crisis. This will pass.
And then I'm like, I got the job. And he's like, good.
No. Like she would every couple of weeks come back and be like, I still want to work on the ship. I still want to do this. I'm like, okay, well now she's serious. Like this is
it starts.
But it was
becoming a passion in the
right. Yeah. And so she really worked hard at it. She passed the training and got the job. And I was like, well, that's cool.
And then it happened. Like, and
that's so cool.
The thing I have to like the guys. I'm the only woman, and the guys that I work with are not assholes. I want to let everyone know that there is no mansplaining. There is nobody making me feel like shit.
Makes me feel so happy.
Yeah. There is a question. If I say, excuse me, partner who happens to be a man, could you please help me with something? They don't give me like, oh, you're a dumb woman. They're like, absolutely. I will help you so that you are successful in your job. That is beautiful. Every person I've worked with has been amazing, and we are like this. The splicers are like a little like brotherhood, so we're watching out for each other's backs. We're always helping each other, and Now I'm about to leave. I've been doing it for a couple of years, and now I'm the lead on the next job, and I feel like I'm gonna like.
Oh, that's so cool. So like, but at the same point, you're saying they're good when you go to them with questions. I'm sure they have to come to you with questions too. You
They
know,
always, they do. They
it's
come to
that
me
good
with
companionship.
questions. They come to me with questions, and I'm like, "Why are you asking me? You know this?" And they're like,
So
"Well,
if I know this is supposed to, you know, be you interviewing me, but I did have to ask, what's a splicer? I
so
have to
I
know.
work for a company that installs and lays fiber optic cable in the ocean. So what I do
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So what I do is I repair, and during new installs there are times where you need to take like one type of cable and connect it to the other type of cable. It is it's mechanical, it's hands on. You have to be able to strip the cable down to the fibers, splice the fibers, and then remake the cable so that it can go into the ocean and not fall apart.
The only female splicer at her company.
Well, in
That's
any
so
company.
dope.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I went on a ship, I met a bunch of splicers, and they're giving me like the whole 411. They're like, and this is how we do it. And this is what, and look at this amazing thing. And I'm like, this is amazing. You're right. I 100% agree. This is amazing. And that's kind of like where I was when I was feeling very downtrodden over a job that I had worked really hard for. And I thought I was getting a promotion. I'm like, fuck them. I'm going to try something different. And I don't care if I'm 37. Now I'm 41, but like at that time I was 37, and I'm like, it doesn't matter how old you are. Try something new if it happens. If it's okay. Like, I'm going to be 37 regardless. I'm going to be 41 regardless. So if you want to try something new, just do it. And he actually was, again, like he knows how I get when I rage out. He was like, I thought it was going to just be like you're mad and you're going to go back to work, but I'm telling you, this was between January and May, and I was livid. I still did my job. I still made everybody happy, but finally in May, I'm like, I'm doing it. And he said,
Man, respect. That's crazy.
I love it though.
That's
I love it.
wild. Yeah.
It's great because she gets the money, and I can get like, which will lead me into the next question with you. Is I've got a couple of spiders I got recently with
He gets
Trey.
more
Okay. All right.
I know you
I was
have
wondering if this would
tarantulas.
come up. Yes.
Oh yeah. Got to know what type of spiders you got.
All right. So currently, let me think. In the past, I started off, I think, like most people do, with one spider, one tarantula. And
Like crack.
but very quickly did that become 10 tarantulas. And and it kind of grew, and then it shrunk. But right now, let me think. I've got I know I've got an Arizona blonde, so a Fauna Palma. Let me think. I can't remember. I can't even remember. But and then I've got let me see, a Fauna Palma Samani, which is like a striped knee. That's my wife calls that hers. Yeah. Let me think. I've got a Simopius Erminia, which I think is a female. She's about 3 inches right now, and it's kept the black coloring instead of turning brown. So that's a good sign. But they're really pretty. They're like a black with a orange tiger stripes on their belly.
Oh, wow.
But they're like one of the fastest ones too, and it's terrifying to feed because I call them teleporters. They just will just be one spot and then another, and I don't even see them move there. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like, Jesus. They move like a lot of the old worlds, even though they're new worlds. They're like South American new worlds. But so I got into tarantulas pretty hard because as a kid, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, there is actually a little bit of a backstory there. But we lived in a small town. Again, I've always kind of lived in smaller towns, except when I lived in Tulsa for about 4 years. But I think I was about 6 years old, and we had a tarantula that lived in our front yard. I eventually ended up naming it Harry, and it was obvious. It was
in the wild.
Yes, just out in the wild. And it was a Fauna Palma Hensey, which is like the Oklahoma brown or Texas brown. depending on which state you live in, but it's the same species. And they're like the most plain, boring tarantula, just brown. But I just like was in love with this tarantula. I'd go out and like watch it crawl around every day. I was like, this thing's so cool. It got to the point where I would like handle it outside,
wow.
like just let it like crawl on my hands. Like I said, I was like 6, 7. And then one day, I'll never forget, went out there and thought it was its carcass, its body,
Oh,
at the top of its hole. And me and my parents, were just like destroyed about it. I was
The
bawling
mole.
like, Harry, something killed Harry. And then we saw like another tarantula come out of the hole. We're like, that tarantula killed Harry. And then but then we started kind of putting it together and doing a little research. And we're like, that is Harry. That was a molt. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And so, and after that point, I was just fascinated, and we ended up moving from there at some point. I don't know what happened to old Harry, but my parents would have never let me have a caged tarantula in the house. But like, it was one of the first things I got when I moved out. I've always loved like snakes, tarantulas. I have a bearded dragon.
they're
Goat.
so sweet.
I mean, we
You
have
have a
like,
Yeah,
I
he
do
has
have
a
a goat.
You
I
told
have
me
a
that last night.
Oh yeah. He said, "Don't tell Neko you have a goat." Oh,
I want a goat so bad.
I told you this is what's gonna happen.
I would keep a goat in the house. I would train it. I would train it to
And
go
see,
potty.
The
They're
funny thing is,
adorable. I'll tell you that. They are cute.
Deryk was like, well, ours is a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit more mean. I saw like Black Phillip's like, yeah, so well, Nico's still like that because she likes Black Phillip.
And
I
they
love
eat
the witch. Yeah,
everything.
it's fine.
Everything. I love that. The last time I saw a goat, this is how long it's been. I went to a petting zoo and I had a scrunchie on my wrist and I'm petting the goat and it ate my scrunchie off of my wrist.
They'll eat anything.
Yeah.
Bro. They'll eat
He was
anything.
like, thank you for this scrunchie. I'm like, whoa, guess it's not mine now.
Nope. It belongs to the goat.
Oh my god, I love goats. I love them.
Yeah, we bought it was a baby we bottle fed, and so he thinks he's a dog. He'll follow us, like he'll be eating grass, but if we get too far, he'll come like we'll look back and he's like, man, he's running sideways and kicking, like they do, but then he'll headbutt the shit out of my 6-year-old. I'm like, okay, calm down. Like
they do the whole like headbutting thing.
He'll raise up and bam. And I'll play, and it's probably my fault because I've always played with him like that. Like, I'll slap him in the forehead, and he'll come at me, and we'll play, and and wrestle around. So, like I said, he thinks he's just some kind of goat dog. So, but he's a lot of fun. We and my wife and kids have horses, a couple horses, and oh gosh, we have all sorts of things. I have 2 crawfish.
Oh wow!
That we. I say we saved them from a crawfish boil because we did, but we also ate like 100 of their siblings. Yeah, so it's not like I did some like giant world favor. I just was like, oh, let's save these. Or my wife actually was like, let's save these and give them to my husband. Yeah. So yeah, we've got all sorts of creepy crawlies. I think if I'm counting, I have like 5 or 6 tarantulas right now and 1 scorpion.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's a giant desert hairy scorpion. So he's one of the yellow ones, not the black ones, but he's like large. So he's
wow.
He's one that I wouldn't want to get stung by, and so I keep him pretty contained.
He won't let me hold the so we have a pink toe tarantula and we have a pumpkin patch tarantula, and the pink toe is big. The pumpkin patch we got as a spiderling, like she was teeny tiny, but
yeah, you never know. Like that was something I had issues with when I first started ordering tarantulas. I ordered one and I was like, why is it so small?
Yeah, he won't let me hold the pink toe because she's so beautiful and furry, and I just want to hold her. And he's like, no, because she's
quick.
She is fast, and he's
vicularia, or whatever. And and they'll poop. They'll shoot poop at you too.
Oh yeah, she poops like a bird. Like so in her, here there's like poop all over the sides. Yeah, but she is so beautiful, and she's very, very chill. Which I'm like, I just want to hold you and pet you. And he's like, no, Don't do it. Don't touch her.
They also like to jump. So like, if you drop them, they're gonna.
Oh yeah,
And that's what he said.
Their abdomens, yeah.
He's like,
Rupture.
if you were holding her and she fell, how would you feel? And I'm like, I would cry.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I have never intentionally handled any of the tarantulas that I've had as pets.
Right.
Oh wow.
I've handled, like I said, Harry in the wild, and I've had to like shoe and guide some into enclosures, and then if they're on my hand, I might, hold them and let them walk around for a while. But I have never like tried to hold one of my tarantulas. It's for two reasons. One, I'm afraid to drop them, but also because I'm, as much as I like them and I'm not scared of spiders or anything, there is always that like I don't want to get bit.
You're right.
that is in my head. Like, what if I move my pinky wrong and it's like worm?
Yeah,
Just like things like that. And so
that's what
I love them, and I'm not scared like of what they could do to me because I've only had a couple of old worlds, which would put you in some pretty extreme pain.
Yeah.
But like the new worlds, typically they'll just make you like itchy, irritable, like a bee sting. You could be allergic, but you're probably not.
But I am, and that's what he said. He's like,
no.
You're allergic to bees, so if you
don't want to take that chance,
by accident, he's like Freya's. If that's what our pink show's named, he's like, if Freya accidentally bites you, you're gonna have to go to the hospital. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't hold her. You're right.
And Freya, are we talking like Nordic gods?
Yeah.
But
we think it might be Freya because we think Freya is a boy because she just molted, and we're thinking Freya is a boy.
Freyo.
Yeah.
Like it turns from Nordic to Italian, but it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, I was like after the molt, I'm looking at it, and it's like you can see the pellipaps, and I'm like, I think this might be a male.
But she's
awesome.
She
still be Freya. It's fine.
Is beautiful. Like the coloring, I that's why I'm just like so.
Well, we can just do non-gender now.
I've never had a tarantula care about their pronouns. Never.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, really, does she care? She's getting crickets whenever she wants a cricket. So right.
So you're a big fan of movies like we are, obviously.
Of course.
I know that you are currently working on a film for yourself. So I have a couple of questions with that. One, how is that coming along? And two, I know like you probably not. I think when we discussed this some time ago, you said you're not paying people, but they're volunteering to be in this with you. But if you had to really like pick and choose, who would you like to have actors and actresses in your film? Who would be like your dream?
No holds barred.
Yeah, to work.
That is a great question. So let me answer the first one first. How's it coming along?
Yeah.
So honestly, great, and it's terrifying. I'm completely nervous and scared and excited and all sorts of different emotions about starting filming. So we've got film dates. We're starting. We're filming on the 4th and 5th and maybe 6th. Of March, obviously, because I rented out. So we were one of the biggest like holdups we were having was like, where are we going to film this? I don't want to do it at my house. That's weird.
Like kids go to bed. We have a film to do.
Exactly, and like I like asked my parents, but like knowingly like knew that they weren't probably just going to be okay with people showing up and filming at their house, and they were kind of like, we'll help with the film, but maybe in another way. And I was like, I totally get it. So, we went through the other processes. Like I ordered like, different lighting, poles and things. I needed boom mics and things like that over time. The masks and stuff. I've created some masks and finally it came down to about a week ago when I was like, I've got to look at renting some property or something, or because we didn't find like any volunteers that would have matched what I was looking for. And I was like, I'll just, so we set up that Patreon page, which thank you guys so much. I know you guys are helping out with that. And we got a couple other people that help out also. And all that money is going straight towards like the cabin at this point. And then any extra will go to like, the things I've had to pay for this. And then if anything else, it will start going to like, distribution and production of it. And so like everything is going to go towards this film until this film is completed. And so I decided, I was like, let's rent this cabin. I looked up a few places. Luckily, since I live where I live, there are cabins abundant around me. And so like I found one, uh, obviously more than I would want to pay, just because like I want a no budget film. But it was like it came out to be about exactly like 175 a day to film at this place and to do what I wanted to do. It's really not, it's about as good as I could have asked for. Uh, and so we're going to go up there on the 4th of March and set up and start filming. It's going to be all night shots, and it's going to hopefully be about a 15-minute long short film.
That's cool.
Just something simple.
Synopsis of what this film's about?
Yes. Okay. So not like an official one that's going to sound professional, but I can definitely give you a rundown off the top of my head. So it's called Isikasoma, and that means the goat in Chickasaw. We live in Chickasaw Nation, and so it's about. I mean, obviously, the goat is probably more metaphorical for Lucifer, Satan.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like actual goat except for maybe possibly a cameo of my goat in the film, which we're gonna work in there somehow to tie it in. But it's so it's about a family that goes through a tragedy, and a year later it seems to start repeating itself. And it would appear that this family is being stalked by some like force or murderous person that came once last year and has come back this year. And so our main character, his name is Laura, and most of the movie is about her running away from this guy that's called the Stranger. And we'll see. I'm excited about making it, but like I said, there's so many things. Like as it gets closer, I'm like, oh my god, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? And so like I've started really getting OCD and planning ahead, like making prop pieces early, some latex pieces for I know at some point I want to do like a slit throat effect, where like there's a slit throat and blood squirts out. And so I made like a skin colored latex piece to go over here, and got things like that. So it's going really good. In terms of like the process, it's actually going so smoothly. Like I said, it's just kind of making me nervous at this point because I'm like, oh, here we go, we're getting there.
Right.
So,
but I'm really excited about editing it and getting it put together, and I'm hoping to release it like Halloween. That's like the goal.
That's a great idea, Halloween, because it's
That's what I'm hoping. If not, then Christmas, because I love Christmas horror, and I feel like I could tie it into that season as well. But
are you going to be releasing it to any of like the independent, like film festivals or anything?
I've thought on and off about that. It's crossed my mind. I don't think so, unless it just turns out to like when I get done with it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. Because it's one of my first things of this kind of scale to actually put together and put out there, and so I want it's probably going to be just more so of a YouTube upload. But if it's like I said, if it really turns out to like start coming together to be something, then I will definitely consider it.
That's not a bad idea with the YouTube though, because I know that the movie Lights Out started out as a YouTube.
Yes.
So,
and the host too, right? The host, I think it started off as something like that, where they were just messing around. And that's kind of this is obviously, like I said, just the first time project. And I have ideas for like other projects. I have a fan film Hellraiser thing I've been working on too, that I've got a location for free to shoot at. And I've got like a kind of like a half a story on it, but there's a couple things like that I want to work on too. Some fan film type stuff of like franchises I love, like the direction I'd like to see them go. That's kind of like what's next. This is an original project, but after this, I'd like to kind of go that route and do some like fan film type stuff. But
that's a good idea.
Thank you. I think that would be a lot of fun. It just seems like something I would really like actually enjoy doing, instead of like take a little bit of the pressure off for a little bit on the creative side and get to just kind of do things that have already been in my head for a long time. And but as far as like dream casting for it, it's such a good question. I feel like I got a couple of really good like local people for the short film, in terms of like people who have had some experience, whether it's in like haunted house settings or in short films and things like that. Or I've got one person who's a college theater actor,
Oh,
and
cool.
so there's things like that, and I'm excited to see what they can do for sure. I probably wouldn't want to replace them because one of the things I wanted to do was keep local with it. Like even like the artwork and the poster work I'm doing, I've been like trying to contract out to people in my area before I like start taking it wider.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of why I decided to name it Isikasoma and go the Chickasaw route, because obviously where I live, it's Chickasaw. It's owned by Chickasaws. We live in Chickasaw territory, and
Oh, wow.
like every business, everything good that is in my hometown is because how good the Chickasaws handle their money and have kind of built that community up. And so I wanted to pay respects in that regard and keep it local and keep it respectful to my community. But as far if I obviously if I could like just pull from the talent of actors and actresses, I'd probably just because of the route that I could go two different ways. I could go if I could do it any way I wanted, I would probably get some sort of like South Korean production to make it, and so I'd have South Korean actors and actresses, and I could probably name them too. But just to like, and my favorite actor right now of all time is Hwang Jung-min, and he plays in like Veteran and Hostage Missing Celebrity and New World and oh god, like everything I love from there. But he so like obviously I try to get people like that involved. But if I was to try to keep it to like names that more people would know, I think because I have a lead female named Laura, which is obviously a play on Laurie Strode from Halloween, and she's like kind of like what you would call the final girl or whatever of this little short film. But it's about 20, so I'd cast someone around that age. I'd probably cast Chloe Grace Moretz is an actress I'm a big fan of, and I think would be like a good screen queen type of actress.
I agree.
And then she has a brother about the same age in this film. So about a 20-year-old actor, someone that could be believable as a brother. Dane DeHaan. I get Dane DeHaan to play a brother. I'm a big fan of his work, and I think he always puts on a good performance. And he's got the look and kind of creep factor that could be built. Him or Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah,
Can both kind of pull off this brother look that I'm going for. And then have a masked killer. It could be played by anyone, but one of the best masked performances of all time is Tom Hardy as Bane. So maybe Tom Hardy. I could get him to like play a more demonic version of Bane for this role. Yeah, it's such a good performance.
He loves that movie. He loves
it's
that
so
whole
good.
trilogy.
Yeah, the trilogy's amazing. Yeah, the Christopher Nolan trilogy is fantastic. Yeah. And then I have like the only other roles left are an older couple who are the parents of the siblings.
That could be us. We're the older couple.
Definitely, you guys do not look old enough.
No, we're totally old enough. We can have adult children.
We don't look old enough.
That's right. We're cool. Mm-hmm.
With the hip ones, you're too hip to play this.
Right.
But if I was to like cast, like I guess it would have to be like 50-year-olds ish, 60-year-olds. If they were to like kind of be the same age as the people I have casted, so that would probably be. If I'm thinking of people who play their parents, I don't know how old he is. He might not be quite 50, but maybe Chris Pine.
I think Chris Pine is more my age.
Are we talking about the guy?
Could he play? Do you think he could play Chloe Grace Moretz and Dane DeHaan's dad?
Maybe.
I think he could.
Maybe, yeah.
And I think he looks enough like him too.
I mean, I'm 41, so they're like 20.
I don't remember the actor's name.
That's true.
But did you ever see Walking Tall, the one that The Rock did?
Yes.
Did the main villain dude in that?
Yes, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Right.
Yes, I don't remember his name, but he's always plays that like kind of. He would. That's a good choice too, because I can.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. He always plays a good villain. Like
yes. And the guy, and also I forget his name. He's a British actor from. He's in The Patriot. he's the guy that kind of squares off against Mel Gibson at the end. He kills
Yes.
Heath Ledger's character. He's always a good villain too in those kinds of roles. But yeah, anybody like that along those lines. I would probably, like I said, my first casting choice, if I was like going to like get any choice to cast any of these roles, these characters, it'd probably be Dane DeHaan as the brother, because of the way he looks, the way he acts, and the role itself. And then I'd probably build from him, like who's believable to be the sister, even though he's not the main character. I feel like I could really build from him and that character and be like, who's believable in this role?
Kind of be like the central.
Exactly. Kind of spiderweb from him, as even though like Laura is the main character. I feel like there's a lot of different people who could play her, but like this role, this role as this brother, I feel like is a little bit more specific, a little more, I guess, story has more importance directly to the story and the plot, how he acts. So, yeah, that's a great question, though. I could come up with 100 names for each one, probably.
So with every person that we interview, we end up coming up to like a little game that we're going to play.
Are you ready to play the game?
I'm ready to play any game.
And Anubis has come up with a game that I'm very proud of.
It's a really good game, too. Oh, my God. I think we're going to expand. It's going to be like a whole thing.
I'm not sure how old you are.
Okay. I can tell you if you want to know.
Did you ever remember the Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is what this is going to be. It's a Choose Your Own Adventure. Awesome. It's called The Adventure of Deryk in Horror Wonderland. And basically, obviously, the goal is to survive. So when I start reading off a couple of things, I'm going to give you a couple of choices.
You can go here
or
here. You can go here.
And you're going to guide your story and your fate. So are you ready?
Sweet. Oh, I'm so ready. Can't wait to go into Horrorland, man.
Yeah. So here we go.
All right.
You find yourself in a ballroom that looks like you have just been part of a prom. All of a sudden, the prom queen gets a strong case of period on her leg, but has managed to get it all over her entire body, and people start getting electrocuted and hurt. You see an exit and go through the door to escape the mayhem. Upon exiting, outside, you have two paths to take, but you have to decide quickly because there's a huge snowstorm going on. So right now, you see a huge hotel on the right that looks somewhat empty. On the left is a research station with flickering lights going on and off. Which do you choose?
Oh, okay. And I'll tell you why. I'm not probably going to go to the research station. And the only reason is because if this girl is bleeding everywhere and I see a research station next door, I'm going to think something has leaked out of that place and it's infected her and it's going to get me. And so what was my other option? What was to the right?
The hotel that looks like it's empty.
Man. See, it could be Norman Bates. But luckily, I am a male, and he's only so far targeted females. So if I don't know, I'm going to take my chances with the hotel and hope that whatever crazy person runs it, if he tries to take me out, I can take him out. I don't know.
So he's going.
Okay.
I can't take out a virus hand to hand.
I'm going to let you go ahead of time. I'm going to just copy and paste the whole thing for you because obviously you're not going to choose everything that I have written down.
Okay.
But I think that you might want to look at the alternatives, when you're done with this.
He did this to me.
Oh, yeah.
So don't worry. You're not the only one.
No, this is awesome.
So the hotel we go. As you enter the hotel, you notice on the floor a large sack that seems to be having something in it. Beyond the sack is a staircase. Do you continue up the staircase or see what was in the sack?
Oh, okay.
Remember,
man,
survival is the game.
And what goes through my mind is like, am I going to be that person I gripe at? The cliche in the horror movies, the one that does something that I say I would never do that, but would I? Would I? I'm going to check the bag.
Okay.
And the only reason is because I'm going to hope that it has some key to tell me if continuing up the stairs is going to be safe or not.
All right.
It's probably not.
As you open the sack, you are immediately attacked by a good guy doll who repeatedly stabs you to death. Game over, Curious George.
If I'm gonna be killed by anybody, I would hope it would be Chucky.
Oh yeah.
And I hope he has something really quirky to say right before he does it too. Like just something like, fuck with the Chuck, I'm like, yes.
I didn't go hotel. I went research facility, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I went research facility and he's like, okay. And like I got so close to the end and then I died. I was like, is that the end? He's like, no, you can survive. And I'm like, fuck you.
Somebody, whoever is the first to survive the whole thing, you have to like do like have like some confetti video prepared or something and like do a giveaway. It have to be something really cool.
You should, because he worked really hard on this. It's like
he had to.
Like
that's fantastic.
That's why I'm gonna just send it to you through Messenger, because like you died early, so I didn't get that. But the reality is, like, you probably didn't catch it right away. The woman in the ballroom that I referred to was Carrie.
Oh, I should have known. Oh my God. Okay.
I sort of like the sack. Like, I didn't really get too descriptive because I'm not a great writer anyway. But
I think
you sort of taking that from Audition, that little sack that was sitting there. So
and it rolls.
Yeah.
Yes!
Oh yes.
So I probably wasn't as descriptive as I could have been, because I was trying to make it like, okay, you don't really trust that thing, so maybe I should just go up the steps.
She's on the phone.
Yeah. So but you'll see, like, as you read it, like, I've made little mentions of this here and there from different horror movies, so you're gonna get a kick out of it.
That's so cool. I'm definitely gonna keep making sure I stay up to date with people who are taking that and listen to their responses. That's so cool.
The one that got me is there towards the end. There's one where it's like you see somebody holding a puzzle cube, and I'm like, I'm not going with that bitch. And then it was the wrong.
I would have known not to. Now that one I would have said.
But then I didn't go with that bitch, and I died. So
maybe.
I was going through so far. I'm like, he's like, oh, you're in a boat and you can succeed and blah blah blah. But then there's this bitch with a puzzle cube, and I'm like,
no, the boat was when you ran out of Jaws.
That's right. Then Jaws. That's when I died. Jaws ate me. But like, there was like one. It's like you can go with this girl who has the puzzle cube, or you can go with this girl who doesn't have the puzzle cube. And I'm like, I go with this girl who doesn't have the puzzle cube, and then I get the boat, and then I die. So anybody else who takes this, go with the puzzle cube, because I don't know what's going to happen.
If you hear about a puzzle cube, yeah, go ahead and follow Pinhead.
But see, if they get to the puzzle cube, because it's different if you go into the hotel, because I went through the research station. Mm-hmm. He's got two different stories going on.
Two different ways to get out. Yeah. Right? Hotel, you can get out. Okay. I won't say anymore. But yeah, so cool. Dude, that is so cool. Like, honestly, I was thinking the other day, it's funny that this was kind of your idea, because I've been looking at like these decision-based games. Like, I loved Until Dawn. A lot of like the Dark Pictures anthology, like the Men of Medan and House of Ashes, things like that. I'm a huge fan of Telltale games. Mm-hmm. Another one, obviously, and I've been researching and looking at playing more of them, like just literally the last 2 or 3 days. And while I've been doing that, I was thinking it would be so incredibly hard to write one of these games because of all the different branch offs there are. So, like, respect for you creating that Horrorland thing. It's awesome. It's one of the coolest things, like, interview wise, I've done. It's so awesome.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that, sir. Now you can go ahead and give us how people can find you on the social media and what you got coming up next for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So mainly I'm on, obviously, YouTube at Flick Snacks and Knick Knacks. On Instagram at Flick Snacks Knick Knacks, no and on that hashtag. I don't believe on that one, and or no on that one. And let's see, I'm on Gitter, which is one of my favorite social media platforms. It is like a it doesn't censor, and block posts. So I'm a fan of that. of that freedom of speech element, and I'm at Flicks on that one, I believe, just Flicks. Um, and obviously on my Patreon, if anyone wants to support that, it's Flicks Next and Knick Knacks, and you can find that linked at the description of
Oh,
most of my videos.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I get worried because everybody's like, I'm on
You like
Instagram.
it? Yeah. I was like, yeah, I think I've talked to y'all and followed y'all on there before.
Most
On
of my
Instagram.
pictures are of like rabbits and my cat, and then like
It's
memes
odd. Yeah, heck yeah.
drinking mimosas at brunch. So that's what my life is: cats, rabbits, brunch.
You need a goat in there somewhere.
I do.
Yeah,
But and like, like I said, anyone that does help or contributes at all on the Patreon between now and when the short film's released will be posted in the credits of the short film as contributors to the film. So that's really like the only thing I can offer, since all the money is going towards the actual film. I can't yeah, exactly, towards the budget of the film. So like anything I can offer is any recognition you want, I will absolutely give, and so that's kind of what I'm offering. But more than anything, I just hope more people come to the channel and enjoy my reviews and can find some movies to watch and some interesting discussion on movies they've already seen.
One thing I love about you, Deryk, is, again, there's so much content out there. But like, I'll watch your channel and you'll have like a quickie. You'll be like, it'll be a 3-minute thing, no spoilers. I just want to like put it out there. And you do that for like everything you watch. And then you'll do like another like longer with spoilers type of movie review. And I'm like, thank you, because I don't always have time to watch things. And you'll be like, okay, this is my non-spoiler 3-minute review. And I'm like, oh, I like this. This is good. Because honestly, the two of us, I feel like we're behind. There's all these movies that are coming out, and I'm like, I didn't even know this movie was out yet. So when we see
Me too. It's crazy though. Yeah, so many slipped by me too.
and when you see people putting out stuff, I'm like, I don't even want to watch it, because I don't want even. We haven't even seen the new Scream yet. And I really want to see it, but I don't know if I'll even be able to see it before I leave, just because of time constraints. So like, who knows when I'll see it. So like, I'm glad that you can put out a review and be honest and still have a nice review without spoiling anything.
Thank you. That's one of my main goals when I do those reviews. I'm like, so for me, trailers spoil too much. Like, I don't even want that much spoiler in my review when I watch it. And there are some channels that I watch and they're like, why are you even watching a review if you haven't seen the movie? But my idea is, why are you watching a review if you've seen the movie? Like, I watch reviews to get quick, general ideas of what's good, what's bad about this movie. Is it going to be worth my time?
right.
Now, if you want to have a discussion about a movie, that's completely different. But for me, a review is something that's supposed to help guide somebody towards watching or not watching, whether that's right or wrong. You shouldn't listen to me. You shouldn't listen to, Robert Eggert, and you should only listen to yourself when you go watch these movies. But at the same time, for me, reviews are supposed to be something that doesn't give anything away. And like I said, I enjoy like my movie trailers to be like 1 minute and 30 seconds long. These, 3-minute long trailers that go in like story progression.
Yeah,
like,
they're like,
from start, and they even like go in order of how the movie is.
yeah.
And you're like, I just watched a condensed version of that movie. I don't need to go see it. So I kind of take that into consideration when I make my reviews, where like I want to tease what it's about, what's good, what's bad, but not give anything away. And then, obviously, if we do discussions like we did yesterday, and DJ Anubis obviously was there, where we do Equilibrium versus Aeon Flux, and those are movies that have been out for a while too. But when we're breaking things down like that, obviously we're going to give spoilers. But if I'm giving like what I call a review for a film, I don't think there should be spoilers there, And so thank you for appreciating those short ones. I know some people do and some people don't.
I love it.
I'm kind of the same way. Like I like watching short reviews, but I also like watching breakdowns. And I think that's why I do both, because like I said, I'm nowhere near getting monetized. It's not even like on the menu at this point.
Yeah, I
So
think you have like 1,000 subscribers or something.
And then like some kind of like
it's crazy hours of
yeah,
viewing.
hours of consistent viewing or something.
You have to have 4,000 hours of viewing.
Ugh.
And I'm like, I'm getting pretty close to 700 subscribers. I think I'm like right at 650.
Woo!
Yes. Um, but at the same time, I only have like 400 watch hours. Like
Hmm.
I'm nowhere near 4,000. So, but at the same, but with that in mind, I have never had that in mind. And I don't say that to be cheesy. I have a source of income, and I enjoy my job. Like I said, I like doing labor. I like working outside. I don't. If it was offered to me to do this for the same price, full time as my other job, I would turn it down because I like to work outside with my hands, and I still watch movies, of course, and want to talk about them with as many people as possible. But
Right.
This is
uh,
a passion project.
it's an
Yeah,
absolute passion project, and the same thing with the short films. This is all like bucket list stuff for me, like stuff I just wanted to do. Um, I've never had any intention of making any money off of it. If I do one day, that would be awesome. And if I was going to make like double doing this as opposed to what I make digging, then we're talking, obviously risk reward, things like that, pros, cons. But, just when it comes to what I enjoy, doing, I do this because I like movies and I like making friends and joining communities. But when it comes to like work, I like working outside, digging holes and getting dirty. So we would have to see if this was ever to become like a job prospect, there would have to be quite a bit of compensation there. So I guess I say all that to say that you're not going to get any kind of bias in any of my reviews. I will never shill out for anyone. Uh, I mean, like somebody could offer me $5 million to like say I like the movie, and I just wouldn't do it. And I don't know. That's probably it's stubborn. It's stubbornness too, and my wife would kick my ass for turning down $5 million. But I'm that person.
Integrity.
And politically too. Yeah, exactly. And politically too, like just like I don't listen to other people. I don't. It's not a problem with authority as much as it is just I think for myself. A very, very, very free thinking person. And so my review, I hope that shows in my reviews. But it's definitely not for the money. It's for community, I think would be the best way to sum it up.
So, do you have anything coming up show wise?
Yeah, well, yes. Tomorrow I'm making a video with Jellyfish Films Productions.
Ooh.
They're a couple out of, I believe, California, judging by their time zone and what I've discussed with them. But we're going to be talking about a film called Homicidal from 1961, which is kind of like a psycho type film from, around the same era.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be on, and that's going to be on their channel. But then on my channel, at some point, we're going to do a review together of I Saw the Devil, the South Korean movie.
That's actually
like a very brutal, like it's a great movie. Yes, okay, y'all have seen it.
Yeah.
Great. And the reason we're doing those films, there's actually a reason. I'm sure they won't mind me saying this because it's the whole reason we picked these movies. They're a gay couple, and they wanted to pick like a gay themed movie to review with me on their channel, since I'm like a straight man, with a wife and kids, and then on my channel we're gonna review I Saw the Devil, which is a slightly more masculine, maybe almost anti-feministic point of view in terms of the serial killer type of movie on my channel. So I just thought they were really cool about this idea, and we thought it would be a super neat introspective, let's all get each other's point of views on this. And obviously regardless of where I live or stereotypes like that, I've never had any issue with anything like that. So that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it, but we're just doing it because obviously we come from different points of views. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Deryk, thank you so much for taking the time out with us, man. It's been a load of fun and an honor. Just hang around for a moment, and we're going to say goodbye to you after we've shut it down. But you the man. We appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Thank you. This was awesome. I can't wait to see who gets out of Horrorland first.
We got to do it to Aaron.
I don't know. We'll figure something out. I've got other plans for Aaron.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
Be right. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you.